and got his foot stepped on again in practice, but he came back today and he will play versus the Steelers. Also, going to go over some key insights to the Ravens versus Steelers game that you need to know about, and also who's playing and who's not for the Steelers. This and more on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Yes, yes, yes. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back to yet another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I am your host, Sutton Def here, and you are watching the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. This is where we cover Baltimore Ravens, everything Baltimore Ravens here. Players, games, coach, everything. We cover everything about the Baltimore Ravens here at PRP. So if this is your first time here again, hello, my name is Sutton Def. And we do actually, you know what? It's not even just Baltimore Ravens coverage anymore because now we're covering more UFC. I love UFC. The World Cup is coming around the corner. I cannot wait for that. So it's really just a sports channel in its own right. So if you do like sports and enjoy that, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel as well, because we got stuff coming out every single day for you here at PRP. Let me see who we have here in the live chat. Let me see. Tila's in the live chat, one of our members here. Shout out to you, Tila. Appreciate you for coming through. Says, hey, Rain Gang. Tim Hughes in the house. What's going on, man? Says, damn, what have I missed? And what's up, my guy Sutton? I hope all is well today. All is great. All is great, Tim. Hope all is well with you, too. Moggs. I know, guys. I know. I see you guys in the chat, man. I'm not happy about it either. D-Wiz is in the house. What's going on, D-Wiz? Appreciate you for coming through. Says hashtag Rain Gang 86 Ghost, another one of our members here in the house. Shout out to you guys. Mog says, Sutton, I need to converse with you about Zay, my boy. I mean, hey, shoot. Let me know. Let me know what you got to say, Moggs. But yeah, appreciate you guys for coming through to this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Got a couple of things to get into today. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, please like the video. Helps us out a ton here at PRP. We're closing in on 5,000 subscribers. We are at 4,906 or something like that right now. So if you are new in here, or if you want to refer a friend who might enjoy some content just like this, make sure you tell them to go ahead and subscribe to the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Outside of that, like I said at the top of the show, going to get into, who's playing, who's not for the Steelers, some key insights that, listen, you need to know about. You need to know about these things going into Sunday's game. And then also, of course, the elephant in the room. Lamar Jackson getting his foot stepped on in practice. And I guess we'll just go ahead and start there. Right? So news came out yesterday that Lamar had missed practice, and this was after it was expected he was going to have a full week of practice heading up to the Steelers game. But he missed practice yesterday. He popped up on the injury report with an ankle again. But then today is Friday, December 5th, it came out that his foot was stepped on in practice, and that was the reason why he wanted to, not go ahead and practice that day and not give it a full go. So I know everybody is really speculating over, okay, who was it, right? Because this is not the first time that this has happened, right? This happened in the offseason right before the season started, maybe about like 2 weeks before the season started or something like that. I remember covering that, and everybody was saying, oh, it's probably Daniel Falele, probably one of the guards, right? And I don't want to just necessarily scapegoat Falele automatically. I think that's honestly kind of lame how people do that just like automatically now. I mean, it's just we don't know. We really don't know, right? So I won't speak on it too much, but man, I mean, reading some of the reports from the beat writers today, like Jeff Zaribek, I'm just kind of reading their tweets, and they're saying like, oh yeah, Lamar Jackson, he's out, he's back at practice now, and he's confirmed he will play on Sunday against the Steelers. And it just, to me, it feels like the fact that we are going back and forth on is he gonna play or not, right? And there's still 5 games left. That worries me. I don't know about you guys, but that worries me a lot because I just don't know if, the weather's getting colder again. These games, they keep coming every 7 days, right? We don't have a bye week for the rest of the season. We're playing it out at this point. Um, and I just don't think that he's going to have any time to really actually get better. And honestly, I think it's still the hamstring. I think he's cleared to play on that hamstring, but he's not cleared to be Lamar, if that makes sense, and when you compound that with like the ankle again, you see how much tape is wrapped around his ankles and stuff like that. I have my worries. I have my concerns for Lamar Jackson's. Him getting his foot stepped on aside. Again, I don't know who did it. I really don't care who did it. Um, well, I do a little bit because if it was the same person as from before in the offseason, then maybe somebody needs to sit him down and have a conversation. But we don't know. It could have been like a freak accident. We don't know. But the point is, I'm concerned for Lamar Jackson's health. I am. And I tweeted earlier today. I said that in this game against the Steelers, I don't think that Lamar Jackson is going to be a big rushing threat. He historically is not a big threat against the Steelers, rushing the football. They normally do a good job at bottling that up. I think that the Steelers will take advantage of the fact that they don't necessarily have to play a full strength Lamar. I know the Steelers are banged up, and again, we're going to get into some of the insights later that'll really kind of give you a nice picture, right, or a prediction of how this game is going to go on Sunday. Who did it? Who did it? Probably O line. I would guess probably the O line as well. I would probably guess the O line too. Not gonna lie. Let me see. Let me go ahead and share my screen here so I can go through some of these reports that came out today with you guys. Again, make sure you guys like this video. Like the video if you can. Subscribe to the channel as well. I appreciate that. Again, if it's your first time watching, my name is Sudden Death, your host here at Quiet Storm Sports on the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. All right, so let's go ahead and get into. Let me share my screen with you guys. All right. So, what we're looking at here, this was a quote, I guess, from Lamar. This was a tweet from Jonas Schaefer here. Said Lamar Jackson, who got stepped on Wednesday, said that day was supposed to be a rest day anyway. So he just wanted to chill out. Let my feet just rest because I got stepped on. And again, let me read it one more time. Lamar Jackson, who got stepped on Wednesday, said that day was supposed to be a rest day anyway, so just wanted to chill out, let my feet just rest because I got stepped on. He ended up missing Thursday's practice with the ankle injury. And, again, this concerns me for Lamar's health because it's like if you have to sit out a whole practice because you got your foot stepped on, what do we surmise is going to happen in a 4-quarter football game where, not only does he have probably some of the same guys who are stepping on his feet, aka his offensive line, they're going to be under duress from a defensive line that is trying to push them back into the quarterback. I just don't, again, I just worry about Lamar Jackson's long-term health in terms of this season, within the scope of this season, right? I don't want to, predict or create any bad juju. In fact, I'm knocking on wood. I don't want to see him go down with like a more serious injury, but it just seems like he's very kind of fragile right now. He's a little bit fragile, and I think that's fair to say. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is, right? It is what it is. It's football. It's football. Don Royal says it's going to be a big Bateman and Likely game. Here's the thing. Steelers struggle covering over the middle of the field. I could see it being a big Zay Flowers game. Hopefully. I could see it being a big Mark Andrews game. Again, just got his contract. My guy Alex mentioned that last night on yesterday's episode of the Purple Rain podcast. If you haven't seen that, check that out. We had Ryan from the Flock Rundown on. He was awesome. Check it out if you haven't seen it already. But yeah, Alex was basically saying like, yeah, I mean, this could be a good game over the middle of the field passing, right? It could be a good game for us. But let's move on here. Of course, Lamar practiced today. It is confirmed that he will play in this game. Let me see. Also, Harbaugh said that Nate Wiggins is a full go for Sunday. And that right there surprised me because all I was hearing all week, I mean, on Monday, or maybe it was Sunday. Sunday, I saw him in a picture. He was in a full boot, a huge boot, right? I didn't think he'd be ready for Sunday. I mean, especially, corner, you rely on your feet a lot. You rely on your footwork a whole lot. I thought that he might sit this game out, especially considering the Pittsburgh Steelers don't really have the best pass catchers. They just don't. I mean, I'm not really afraid of a Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, hell, even a DK Metcalf, like I said last night. So I thought that maybe we would rest Nate Wiggins for this game, bring him back against the Bengals, who we play next week, right? Because we're going to need him for Jamar Chase and T. Higgins will be back. We're going to definitely need him for that. So I don't want Nate Wiggins to get any more banged up than he was, in this game. And I hope he doesn't. But it is good news. It is good news that he's coming back. Somebody put in the comments, they said Wiggins got that Wolverine healing from K Ham. Love to see it. They must have. I mean, he must have it. I mean, because to come back that quickly is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Not even gonna lie. All right. Let's see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to Mike. I see you in the chat. Zeke, I see you in the chat. TY, what's going on, brother? Chef Spicy Rice, Void, Spiritual War, one of our members here. Appreciate y'all for coming through. And if you're part of the hashtag replay gang, which means you're watching this after I went live, shout out to you. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and put down below in the comments any questions, comments, concerns, whatever you got. Let me know. Leave it there down below. All right, let's move along here. Gianna Hahn, shout out to her. She tweeted today, with Lamar Jackson and Travis Jones return to practice, left tackle Ronnie Stanley was the only player missing today. So that's interesting in itself. Ronnie Stanley was missing from practice today. I do expect him to play. I don't think he was on the injury report earlier this week. So I'll have to look into that. I have to do a little bit more research on that. But Travis Jones returning to practice. He missed practice yesterday for a personal matter, so I didn't really take it as, he was hurt or banged up and he's not going to play. He's definitely going to play, and we're definitely going to need him. Because I'll tell you one thing, and I'll talk about it more when we start talking about the insights a little bit more. Stay tuned. This is going to be a physical-ass football game. I described it as a phone booth football game yesterday on PRP. Because, in terms of when these two teams play each other, the Ravens and the Steelers, what they want to do is it's basically naked football. It's football to its core, stripped down to the very basic elements. Running the football and playing defense. Right? When the game of football was first created, running the football was the primary source of offense. Passing was non-existent and few and far between. Right, running the football is the rawest form of this game. And when you have this matchup between the Ravens and the Steelers, that's what it comes down to. Who can run the football on who can stop whoever's run, right? And just whatever defense just kind of prevails, creates turnovers. That's what this is going to come down to. So Travis Jones, all the help that the Ravens can get on the trenches is going to be massively important. Massively important. So having Travis Jones there is, definitely a plus for us. But, I'll take a little drink here. Sipping a little drink here. I'm going to sip a little drink for Nnamdi Madubuike, who, of course, went down after week 2 against the Browns. Don't know if he's going to be back for the Ravens ever. But, man, I can only imagine how this season would be going and how it might be different if Nnamdi Madubuike was on the team. We've really kind of learned how impactful Nnamdi Madubuike was because he could create pressure from the interior, which is rare coming from an interior D lineman. Take a drink for Nnamdi Madubuike really quick. Man. Yeah. Shout out to the Sippers, by the way. Shout out to Sippers. Shout out to Coach. Sip to Tally Films. But yeah, man, I mean, him kind of like clogging up the middle of the trenches, stopping the run, getting after the quarterback, pushing the safety into the lap of the quarterback. That type of production, man, you can't replicate that. We can't replicate that. Travis Jones is our next best option, and he's damn good, but he ain't Nnamdi. Travis Jones is damn good. Do not get me wrong. He's one of the only reasons why this defense still looks competent. It's not just Kyle Hamilton. It has a lot to do with Travis Jones as well. So, yeah, I say all that to say trenches are going to be very, very important in this game, as they always are in Ravens versus Steelers. Hopefully, the Ravens can kind of close the gap on this rivalry between the Ravens and Steelers. I think the Ravens have 26 wins in this matchup, or 27 wins to the Steelers 36, I want to say. So The Ravens got to close in. We got to win some more games against these guys. We won our last 2, so that's a good start. She also says, Gianna Hahn, that is, says safety Ardarius Washington and outside linebacker Tavius Robinson put together 3 straight days of practice. Not sure who, if Ardarius will play. Harbaugh said earlier this week that Tavius definitely won't play. He's still ramping up. But Ardarius, he could possibly, he used the word possibly, play Ardarius Washington. So we'll continue to monitor that. If so, and he also said that he could use Ardarius in the nickel as well. So when the Ravens need an extra DB on the field, you might see Ardarius. Maybe not this week, but sometime down the stretch of this season. Chef Spicy Rice in the chat says we just need to overhaul the trenches next season. That I agree with. Man. You got to play this game of football from the inside out. Skill players are all fine and dandy. They're great. But again, the rawest form of this game is down low in the trenches. What happens there? We see it every single Super Bowl. Whichever team wins up front wins the Super Bowl. Every year. So it's important. The most important part. Let's move along here on our Purple Rain report for today. Let me see. Don't think I had anything else in there. Oh, well, Jeff Zariebek did tweet this. Harbaugh said that the Ravens are still trying to get other contract extensions as well on top of the Mark Andrews one that they did earlier in the week. And, I found that interesting. I saw somebody tweet earlier today, and I want you guys to answer this question for me because I found it very interesting. If you had to choose between re-signing or extending Zay Flowers, Travis Jones, or Tyler Linderbaum, which one would you pick? Who would you prioritize, or how would you prioritize that? Right? For me, I would go Travis Jones, Tyler Linderbaum, and then Zay Flowers. In that order. Travis Jones, Tyler Linderbaum, and then Zay Flowers. Again, in that order. Because like I said, I can't be a hypocrite. I mean, the game of football is played from the inside out. The guys on the outside, the Zay Flowers of the world, they can't do their job if the job isn't getting done down low first. Priorities first. I mean, somebody might hate me for saying that. Kwame in the chat says Zay Flowers, number 1, then 2, everyone else. I don't agree. I vehemently disagree with that, Kwame. I do. Kwame, I love you, but I disagree with that take. Because, I mean, Zay can't get the ball. Zay cannot get the ball if we don't have the trenches, if we don't have the offensive line, right, to give Lamar time to get Zay Flowers the ball. That's one of the big problems that we have right now. I mean, Zay Flowers, if he had more targets, he'd probably be doing more. Am I the biggest Zay Flowers fan? No, you guys know that. But, I do also recognize that he needs more targets. He needs more volume. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Let me see. Easy G3 says, I would pay Linderbaum first. Lindy needs help on the offensive line. Paying Linderbaum first, I wouldn't say that. I think it's a little bit more. I think a strong interior D lineman like Travis Jones is a little bit more valuable and a little bit more rare than a center, a above average center. Well above average. I mean, Tyler Linderbaum, he's really good. He has his deficiencies though. Against bigger and taller nose tackles, he can get slapped out of the way very easily. It's on tape all season. And I've shown you guys some of that here on this very channel. So, would I not mind a Corey Bullock kind of taking that spot if we couldn't afford the money to pay Linderbaum, depending on how much he asked for? I wouldn't mind it, but one thing's for damn sure, with the money that you would save from a Tyler Linderbaum, you got to go out and you got to get a guard, right? Get some really good guards. But that's just me. I wouldn't pay Linderbaum first. I'd pay him second, but not first. Bo knows says Travis Jones all day. I agree, Bo. I agree. He kind of gets bullied sometimes. Yeah, a lot of the time. There's been at least a couple plays in each game that I've seen where, a guy lines up a zero tech position right over top of him, right over top of Tyler Linderbaum, and he just sheds him in milliseconds. And he's right in the backfield. And that's a big reason why Derrick Henry hasn't been able to get off. So Travis Jones can't stay healthy. That's a good point, Kwame. That's a good point. I mean, he does get banged up. He's been dealing with an ankle the past 2 seasons. However, man, you can't move off a talent like that, man. He's one of the better interior D linemen in this league. He is. Void with the membership. Appreciate you, Void, joining the Rain Gang. Appreciate that, brother. But yeah. What else you guys saying here? Linderbaum might have stepped on him, says Tila. That's interesting. Right? Maybe. We don't know. Let's move along, guys. I think I got one more for you guys. So let's see now who is playing and who is not playing for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So this comes from Nick Faribaugh, Steelers beat reporter. Says Kyle Duggar, which is safety. He is out against the Ravens. So is offensive tackle Calvin Anderson with a knee, and also defensive tackle Derek Harmon with a knee. Derek Harmon being out in this game is huge. It's huge for the Ravens. Let me tell you why. I don't think I even need to say to you guys how obvious it is that the Ravens are going to literally pound the air out of the football and run it down the Steelers' throat in M&T Bank Stadium on Sunday. Without Derek Harmon playing, it is going to make it that much easier for this offensive line to move guys and open up lanes for Derrick Henry. So who does this put the onus on for the Steelers to stop Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell, whoever we want to throw at you? Between the tackles, that is mainly. That puts the onus on one Patrick Queen, who, as you guys can see here, he's playing. And it also puts the onus on Malik Harrison, who's also playing. And you see down here, it says Joey Porter Jr., James Pierre, Aaron Rodgers, and Patrick Queen, who are all banged up. They will play against the Ravens and have no injury status. So, I mean, their secondary is banged up. Their defensive line is banged up. Their quarterback is banged up. Aaron Rodgers has a cast on his left hand. He can't take snaps under center. He has to play from the gun. And the pistol, I mean, that makes them all the more one-dimensional. So it's kind of like, when I think about it, both teams, both offenses are handicapped in a way. Lamar Jackson is not anywhere near 100% to be able to use his legs and really threaten you as like the dynamic quarterback that we know him to be. And Aaron Rodgers basically doesn't have a left hand. So another thing, if you get to Aaron Rodgers and you sack him, he's not going to be able to brace the fall with his left hand. He's going to have to hold the ball with his right. He's not going to be able to brace the fall with his left. So what does that mean? I think that means he's going to be trying to get that ball out quick, fast, and in a hurry, which he does at the second highest rate in the league right now. So pressure is going to be important. You got to make Aaron Rodgers hesitate. And it's hard to do that because it's Aaron Rodgers. He knows where he wants to go with the football. He throws with a lot of anticipation. He's been in this league a very long time. Problem is his receivers aren't, and you can tell when Aaron Rodgers talks to the media, like he is dreading this receiving core that he has right now. He's missing the old days with, Greg Jennings and Donald Driver back in Green Bay and stuff like that. And he's missing Tay Adams. He's missing that really bad. Really bad. Like these new guys, you can tell. That's why he kind of little boys them, kind of sons them in his interviews. I think at least because like he knows these guys aren't anywhere near as good. If you could ask Aaron Rodgers right now, like What do you think about your current receiving core as opposed to your receiving core 10 years ago when you were in Green Bay? Keep like, oh, it's night and day. These guys don't even stack up. DK Metcalf, Calvin Austin, Roman, they don't even stack up. So, tight ends too. But yeah, what was I saying? Kind of went off on a tangent there. Jordy Nelson is another one, Void. You're right. He doesn't have his Green Bay receivers. Yeah. TY says A-Rod is not trying to get hit. Expect a lot of checkdowns. Yeah, for sure. Ashley, I see you. What's up, Ashley? Another one of our members here in the chat. Appreciate you for coming through. But TY says A-Rod isn't trying to get hit. Yeah, expect a lot of checkdowns for sure. I mean, that's what he's been doing. You guys, I don't know if you guys know this stat, but the Steelers have not completed a 20-plus yard pass in 30 days. Let that sink in. Have not completed a 20-plus yard pass in 30 days. That's insane. That's crazy. All right. So let's go ahead and get into some insights here. Since we keep talking about this Ravens versus Steelers matchup, let's get into some insights here, courtesy of NFL Pro. Let's go ahead and bring this up on screen. See what we got here. What do we got? One second. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel as well. We'd appreciate that. There we go. All right. So let's take a look at some insights here. So these are the things that you really need to know going into this matchup against the Steelers on Sunday, 1 p.m. Let's take a look at this. Number one, Aaron Rodgers. Says here, Aaron Rodgers has the second quickest time to throw at 2.67 seconds among quarterbacks this season. Consequently, Rodgers has been pressured at the lowest rate among that group of quarterbacks, while his quick pressure rate is the fourth lowest. However, Rodgers has been sacked on 26% of his pressure dropbacks. That's the fourth highest mark among qualified quarterbacks. The Ravens have produced the fourth lowest pressure rate at 29.1% pressure rate. Additionally, they have struggled to finish their pressures, posting the third lowest pressure to sack rate this season at only 13.5. What does this mean? What does this mean? This means that Aaron Rodgers already gets the ball out quick. When you give him a defense to play against that can't get pressure, like the Ravens, again, fourth lowest pressure rate in the league, or actually third lowest pressure to sack rate in the league, fourth lowest pressure rate. It's going to feel like, if you're Aaron Rodgers, right, from Aaron Rodgers' perspective, it's going to feel like he's got all day to throw. You know, like, and that's what worries me. That's where I need our back end to hold up, because I know for a fact this pass rush is not going to be screaming after Aaron Rodgers unless it's a Kyle Hamilton, just beautiful unicorn looking blitz. I don't really see guys getting after him like that. I don't. You know, I need to see a Mike Green take advantage on the outside, but Mike Green I've had to curb my expectations on. I know he's a rookie, right? And he's also undersized as well. I mean, you guys saw last week against the Bengals. I mean, Mike Green was he was just glued to the tackle. Couldn't go anywhere. Tackle was staying. There was one play was really bad. I mean, Mike Green tries to run into him for like a bull rush, right? And the tackle just stands straight up and just like holds him. It doesn't even look like he's struggling to hold Mike Green in place. Meanwhile, Mike Green's legs churning, wheels just spinning. It wasn't going anywhere. It's like, and then you got, you know, other outside linebackers like Draymond Jones. You got Kyle Van Noy, but we're just not getting consistent enough pressure, like nowhere near it. All right. Void says, sounds like we're going to send the kitchen sink. Probably. I mean, yeah. think I saw somebody in the chat says, "Did Fub play Thanksgiving?" Ty, yeah, Fub did play on Thanksgiving, and his peoples, he did. Mike Flock Gang says, "No more grace for Alohi Gilman missing tackles." Alohi Gilman has missed some tackles, yes, but I think there's been a lot more positive with the negative when it comes to Alohi Gilman. A lot more positive than negative. I mean, the guy is, he's forced a fumble, right? I mean, he's made some tackles in some big spots. He's covered well in some big spots. He's allowed Kyle Hamilton to kind of roam around in the box. I can't really say too many things bad about Alohi Gilman. That was a good pickup. Let's move on to the next insight here. Chidobe Awuzie, and this is a shout out to him. Awuzie has allowed the lowest completion percentage of 50%, the lowest among Ravens defensive backs, and tied for 9th lowest among NFL cornerbacks. We got a super chat donation. This one's coming from Void. Shout out to you, Void. Appreciate you for making it rain here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports, this Friday episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Hope you guys are enjoying your weekend. Void, this is for you. Let me see. Void says, need to see Green in a wide 9. Let him bend around. Yeah, he's got the speed. But another big problem, you put him out that wide. I feel like quarterbacks naturally, I don't know why, but they're getting the ball out pretty quick against the Ravens. So I don't know how effective he would be out that far either. But, you know, he might be able to get around some tackles that way a little bit easier. Because right now, they just don't want him to get inside, right? They're not giving up inside leverage on him. So it's just, they're just kind of letting him run into him. But I could see, yeah, if he's lining up a little bit further out, then sure. But I still think he needs to put on some more weight. But back to Cheeto, though. The lowest among Ravens defensive backs, and tied for the 9th lowest among NFL cornerbacks. So he's allowing the 9th lowest completion percentage, Chidobe Awuzie is, among NFL cornerbacks. He's been really good. I mean, dare I say, this is I think I can go out on a limb and say Chidobe Awuzie was the number 1 acquisition, in hindsight, that the Ravens made in the offseason. Is that fair to say? Am I missing somebody, guys? Because, I mean, you talk about guys in the draft. You talk about all of our other offseason acquisitions like D-Hop, whoever else we got in they're not even really coming to mind right now, but Chidobe Awuzie, he's I think it's safe to say he was the best offseason acquisition that this Ravens team made. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah, you guys agree. So it also says here Awuzie has yielded just 5.7 yards per target, 7th lowest among that same group of corners, with teammate Nate Wiggins close behind at 5.9, the 11th lowest. So Awuzie and Wiggins, man, that's a tandem right there. Can't say the same for Marlon Humphrey right now, but Awuzie and Wiggins are looking really good. They're looking really good. And I would probably expect to see Awuzie on DK Metcalf for a lion's share of DK Metcalf's reps. Also depends where they line him up at too, right? Awuzie is going to be on the outside, of course. Marlowe's going to be in the nickel, guarding a slot receiver. I think that they normally would keep DK on the outside just with his big body, unless they're trying to run like a inside slant, something like that, something real quick. But I think for the most part, you're going to see Cheeto Awuzie on DK Metcalf. But we'll see. Let's move on. Let's get into Aaron Rodgers a little bit more. Aaron Rodgers has averaged 5.8 air yards per attempt this season, the lowest mark among qualified quarterbacks and his lowest mark since at least 2016. Currently, or it says consequently rather, 70% of Rodgers' yards have come after the catch, nearly 10 percentage points higher than the next closest quarterback. Wow. That's kind of crazy. So, I mean, he's just dumping it off to his guys and letting his guys do the work, basically. There were some games where he kind of turned back the clocks, though. That game against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football, he was doing him. Like he was going down the field. He looked like vintage Aaron Rodgers, but I guess like in this season, in the season's totality, rather, he hasn't looked that good throwing the ball down the field. Like I said, guys, I mean, it's been a month since the Steelers have completed a pass 20 yards down the field. So he's checking it down. So again, who does that put the onus on for the Ravens defense? It's going to be Roquan Smith. It's going to be Teddy Buchanan. Those two guys have to step up. They have to show up. They have to show out in this one. Because I guarantee you, Aaron Rodgers is going to do a lot of targeting of his tight ends. And we're actually going to get into that in a little bit too. All right, next one. Ravens defense. The Ravens defense has deployed single high safety coverage on 60.2 of dropbacks this season. That's the sixth highest rate among NFL defenses. Single high coverage on 60% of dropbacks. And it says, when using this coverage, Baltimore has allowed the second most passing yards per game at 152.3, despite maintaining a completion rate at 62.6 and first down rate 32% that aligns with league averages. So, with this, I think that you probably will see more guys around the line of scrimmage trying to rally tackle, you know what I mean? Like running backs, tight ends, things like that when Aaron Rodgers goes underneath or when they run the football. But that does open up opportunities for play action. However, again, Aaron Rodgers is not going to be playing under center like that because of that hand. So it kind of hinders their ability to run play action traditionally from under center. So it'll be interesting to see how the Steelers come out and kind of counter that. I'm sure that they've had multiple conversations about that this week in their film study and, and their coaches meetings and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how they attack that. Let's move on. Steelers offense, Darnell Washington. I thought this one was interesting. The Steelers tight ends have generated 502 yards after the catch, the third most in the league this season. Darnell Washington has recorded 7.8 yards after the catch per reception, the second most among tight ends with at least 10 catches and trailing only Tucker Kraft at 11 yards, who was placed on a season-ending IR in Week 10. So I've spoken about this on numerous occasions on this podcast. And I've been thinking about this for the last 2 years. Darnell Washington, at some point, is going to be a problem for the Ravens. He's the type of player who I feel like late in the game, if it's close, right? Let's say fourth quarter, both teams have been battling it out all game. Again, phone booth, physical football. And you're in the fourth quarter. It's close. Steelers are somewhere marching, right, within the 30. Not quite the red zone, but maybe the 30. You get the ball to Darnell Washington. Guys are a little bit tired. And that guy is huge and hard to bring down. And if he gets into that secondary, it could get a little bit spooky. I could see it. I mean, I remember, who was it back in the day? Was it A.J. Brown who, embarrassed this team? It was A.J. Brown who I think really, wore down the Ravens defense and kind of, dragged them in the end zone. I think he did it. I think Travis Kelce has done it before. I've just seen these type of plays where the Ravens kind of break down defensively. And, a bigger ball carrier is just, kind of impossible to bring down. I've seen that. So when it comes to Darnell Washington, again, I think that he's going to have a big role in this game. Him, Pat Freiermuth as well. You got to rally tackle these guys. Get to their legs, bring them down as soon as possible. Let's move on. They have a card here about Kyle Hamilton, but we already know about that. Basically just saying that Kyle Hamilton has moved down closer to the box, and the Ravens have been better since defensively. This one was interesting. Steelers offense has utilized 13 personnel at the second highest rate in the league this season. Additionally, the Steelers have used jumbo personnel at the second highest rate. The Steelers are the only offense in the last decade to play at least 100 snaps in each of 13 personnel and jumbo in one season. So they like to go heavy, basically is what that means. They like to go heavy and run the ball, throw the ball down, not downfield, to their tight ends, things like that, to their running backs, all that stuff. Kenneth Gainwell is going to be a big part of this game as well. So, one running back, three tight ends. I mean, that means you've got Darnell Washington, Pat Freiermuth, and who? Jonnu Smith on the field all at once. Again, like I said, linebackers are going to have their work cut out for them in this one. Linebackers and Kyle Hamilton. I feel like you'll probably see some flash concepts here by the Steelers in this one because they know Kyle Hamilton's going to be coming off and blitzing Aaron Rodgers, trying to speed up his clock, have him get the ball out quick. You're going to see guys like Pat Freiermuth and maybe even a Darnell Washington leak out into the flat after blocking for maybe a half second. It's going to be important, again, for our guys to fly downfield and tackle. That's going to be a big one. Fly downfield and tackle. And for that, I'm looking at the likes of Malachi Starks, Alohi Gilman. This is going to be, again, a very big game, a very important game for Alohi Gilman, Malachi Starks, Roquan Smith, and Teddy Buchanan. Those four Ravens really have their work cut out for them in this game based off of how the Steelers play football. So, let me see what you guys are saying here in the chat. Stop him early for sure. Darnell Washington is a matchup nightmare. He is. He's 6 foot forever. Go Man says, see, this is where Ardarius would cook. Yeah, I mean, I would probably give Ardarius another week. If it's like a possibility that he could play, don't play him. Maybe activate an extra lineman, but let him heal up maybe a week or two more. We'll probably need him more against the Bengals, to be honest with you. I would prefer Ardarius to come back against the Bengals. That's just me. Let's move on. Let's see here. Let me see. Teddy Buchanan. The Ravens have 5 different players with more than 20 run stops this season, tied for second most among NFL teams. And Teddy Buchanan and Travis Jones are tied for a team-high 26 run stops. Travis Jones also has the 4th highest run stop rate amongst defensive tackles. See, I told you guys. Travis Jones, he does it all. He stops the run. He can also force interior pressure, although he's not really a big finisher. Matabike was a better finisher at the point of attack when it came to sacking the quarterback, but Travis Jones can definitely flush you out. That's for sure. But again, going to be a huge game for Teddy Buchanan, a huge game for Travis Jones. This whole defense has their work cut out for them. I don't care if this Steelers offense is not looking the greatest. Let me see. DK Metcalf here, talking about the Steelers offense. DK Metcalf has been targeted downfield on just 32% of his targets this season, the lowest mark of his career. DK has caught just 7 of his 24 downfield targets for a career low 8.8 yards per target. Consequently, 59.3% of DK's yards have come after the catch, the highest mark of his career by nearly 15 percentage points. DK Metcalf has just 1 downfield reception in his last 5 games. So, DK Metcalf is not the deep threat or anything like that. He's going to catch the ball underneath. And he's going to, run through arm tackles and try to pick up as many yards as he can because he's got that big frame. So he plays a little bit smaller than he is. I think the Ravens have to take advantage of that. This is going to be a game where Ravens, like I said, fly down the field. You got to run through tackles. You're going to have to run through guys in this one. Let them know that it ain't sweet. Like, you cannot give this Steelers offense confidence. The Steelers offense has not been good. But if you give them confidence, they will look like world beaters real quick. So start fast. Let me see. We talked about the Ravens' pressure rate already. This is interesting. The Steelers have used design rollouts on 8.3 of Aaron Rodgers' dropbacks, his highest mark since 2021. Rodgers has scrambled on 11% of his dropbacks, his highest scramble rate since 2019. However, in week 13, Rodgers scrambled on just 1 of his 22 dropbacks, just his 3rd game this season with 1 or fewer scrambles. The Steelers called only one designed rollout for Rodgers as well in week 13. Yeah. So, I mean, they're not doing that anymore because he does not want to be as mobile. He does not want to be on the run. He wants to sit back there, take his 3-step drop, and get the ball out. He does not want to be touched. This guy's got hundreds of $1 million in the bank. He's 40 something years old. He doesn't want to be playing football right now. I mean, not to say he's on his way out, not to say he's got one foot out the door, but he's limited right now. He's limited. That's why I said both offenses are kind of handicapped. I don't know which one you would say is handicapped more. Probably Aaron Rodgers. I mean, 42 years old, can't even take snaps under center. Yeah, he's more disabled. I mean, yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let's move on. Zay Flowers. Good old Zay. Number 4. Says Zay Flowers has gone in motion on 28.9% of snaps, the third highest among wide receivers. His 222 receiving yards from motion are also third most among wide receivers, following only Puka Nacua and Amon-Ra St. Brown. When it comes to Zay, I mean, they send him in motion a lot. I feel like it's more so a defense indicator to try to see if they're in man or if they're in zone. And Lamar Jackson kind of makes live adjustments and live decisions there at the line before the ball is snapped to determine where the ball is going to go. So, and I've never been a big fan of giving Zay the ball on these, like, jet sweeps and things like that. They barely work. I mean, probably in the last 10 times we've seen that play get called, it's probably worked maybe 3 times, I would say. Like 60 to 70% of the time, it doesn't work. It only goes for maybe like a minimal gain, 3 yards, 4 yards, maybe. Let's get Keaton Mitchell on the outside. That's what I want. That's what I want to see. But again, I hope Zay Flowers has a good game because the Steelers are not really good at defending the intermediate area of the field. So if Lamar Jackson has enough time and Zay Flowers can get open over the middle of the field, I could totally see him, having a good day. And by good day, I mean like maybe 3 to 4 catches, 55 to 65 yards, something like that, right? That's what we're looking at. Sean Coles with the Super Chat donation. Appreciate you, brother, making it rain here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Says ties for the basket, brother. Appreciate that, Sean. Appreciate that. Let me see. Sean, also one of our members here, part of the hashtag Rain Gang, part of the fam. Again, appreciate all of our members here at PRP. JSN. Sometimes they use Zay as a decoy. For sure. Zay needs to stay, but not for big pay. I like that. And I am being nice. I'm being nice. I didn't say anything too bad about Zay Flowers. I did have a thought earlier. Actually, it was last night, and I want to share it with you guys. I've been seen as this big Zay Flowers hater lately. And I don't mean for it to be that way, guys. I really don't. But I was watching Thursday Night Football. And I was watching the likes of Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb put on a masterclass to me on what a wide receiver 1 looks like. And when I say that, I really just mean one thing. Running straight is just so much more advantageous than cutting back and forth. And I get the reason why Zay Flowers cuts back and forth. You know what I mean? Because you can be running one way and then you can stop on a dime. If you have that sort of like a gear change, like quick shift ability, sure, you stop on a dime and then you go the other way. You reverse field and, you can get a guy turned around, sure. But when I was watching Amon-Ra St. Brown and CeeDee Lamb catch the ball last night, what they would do after they caught the ball, they would pick one angle and they would just go for it. Now, what does that do? Like, they wouldn't change directions. What does that do? What that does is not allow the defense and the secondary to rally tackle you. It doesn't allow them to work together to bring you down, right? Because when you pick an angle and you basically just say, like, hey, catch me if you can, it turns it into a one-on-one foot race between the receiver and all the DBs. Because you don't have any help. You just have to try to beat him to whatever angle it is. You yourself as a DB. It's one-on-one. It's a foot race. But when you play kind of like, like a Zay Flowers plays, and maybe some other guys around the league too, you got to cut back and forth, and all you're doing is giving the defense time to work together to bring you down. That's all you're really doing. Chef Spicy Rice says Zay gets trapped a lot. That's exactly what I'm talking about. That's exactly what I'm talking about. You trap yourself. That's all you do. So it limits your production, as opposed to just literally like picking one angle and telling whatever DBs are in front of you, like, I think I'm faster than you. Let's test that right now. Doesn't mean I'm going to score every single play. No. But I guarantee you that threatens and terrifies a defensive back more than a wide receiver cutting back and forth, right? Because it allows them to kind of work together to bring you down, to rally tackle you. We have another super chat donation in the chat again, coming from Sean. Sean making it rain here on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Appreciate you, Sean. Sean says, at the beginning of the year, I said Likely could not handle the load for the contract he wanted. No disrespect to Likely. Likely was hurt at the beginning of the year. And I still think when he came back, that foot was nagging, not to mention also the offensive line was not doing anything. And also Lamar Jackson was out a few weeks, and also Likely is not the first, second, or third option. Unfortunately, there's a lot going against Isaiah Likely when it comes to like him getting production in this Ravens offense, which is why I know for a fact, if he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs, or if he goes to the New York Giants, right, or the Cincinnati Bank, whoever, they're going to put him to very, very good use. But and again, you see what happens when he does get the football. Outside of that fumble on Thanksgiving Day, when he does get the football, he's pretty electric for a tight end, right? So I think it was just an unfortunate year. It was an unfortunate bouncing of the ball year for Isaiah Likely. Again, with that foot getting hurt, not being able to start the season, not having his quarterback for a couple of games after he came back. It's just unfortunate. But I'm sure he was commanding a good deal of money, as he should have, before the season started, because it's like, hey, look, man, you got me, who gave you like the go-ahead touchdown to tie against the Bills, right? 40-yard touchdown pass from Lamar Jackson. I caught that. I've shown that I can step up in big moments, right? I was a toe away from beating the Kansas City Chiefs, and that would have been my second score of that game, even though that was a 2-point conversion. I know. He had a good case for that money. He still has a good case for his money. It just hasn't been his year because for a multitude of reasons, right? Not necessarily all his fault either. Did I like what he did, how he performed on Thanksgiving Day? He had 5 catches for 95 yards, but he had 2 plays that prevented 2 touchdowns. So that kind of negates that. I didn't like how he played overall, but he deserves his money. He deserves his money. Let me see. Andre says, love Sutton, but you keep comparing Zay to wide receivers he doesn't play or is not built like. You want him to stop doing what makes him special. I just want him to score touchdowns, bro. That's all. I just want him to score touchdowns. Forget everything else, Andre. If he's not putting 6 up on the board, then what are we really getting out of him, because I mean it's cool to like get a nice 40 or not 40 but like maybe 30-yard gain off of an over the middle pass, and you go down and gets us in the red zone. Red zone offense struggles sometimes. Sometimes as a wide receiver, you have to have that X factor ability. Get in the end zone, right? Get your offense off the field. Zay Flowers is not a get my offense off the field kind of guy. I just want him to do that. Like, forget comparing him to guys who he's not built like or whatever. He's just not getting his offense off the field. All right. Let me see what else we have here. Any other insights I wanted to get into? I think I got into most of them. TJ Watt, who I think will have a, dare I say, a pretty good game against this Ravens team. He's going to be lined up over on the side of Roger Rosengarten, who has historically played well against TJ Watt. But Roger Rosengarten, I think, has kind of taken a back step this year to me. Another super chat donation in the house before we get into this TJ Watt thing. Void says, what wide receiver one had more fumbles than touchdowns besides Zay? Another one of my points, man. Another one of my points. It's just more fumbles than touchdowns. That's just not wide receiver one to me. To me. Like, wide receiver two, cool. High end wide receiver two, yeah, maybe. But wide receiver one, like number one option, like, gotta have it. Here's what we got to go to. 3rd and 6. We're playing on CBS, and Tony Romo is circling this guy with the yellow highlighter, like, hey, watch out for this guy on 3rd and 6. They want to go to him. Zay Flowers is not that guy. He's not that guy. Period. Appreciate the super chat donation, Void. But TJ Watt has faced a chip block on 122 pass rushes, 33 more than the next closest player, which is Aiden Hutchinson at 89. He's been getting chipped the hell out of, TJ Watt has this year. But he's still good in run defense. I mean, I was looking at some of his tape from last week against the Bills. I mean, certain spots, I mean, he still looks pretty good. I mean, TJ Watt, I'm not underestimating him at all. I know he's not having the best year to his standards, but I think he's going to have a good game lining up over the likes of, Roger Rosengarten and Daniel Faalele. And that stunt, I mean, I can totally see it. TJ Watt stunting inside, Daniel Faalele not being able to get a hand on him, and Watt having a free rush at Lamar Jackson on 3rd and whatever. And it's going to be very frustrating to watch. But this is why I said you guys got to tune into this video, because these are insights that you need to know going into this game. So just prepare yourself. Mentally prepare yourselves for TJ Watt to have at least a couple free rushes at Lamar Jackson. Just saying. All right. What else we got here? Oh, another super chat donation. We got that. I hear it. Sean Coles again dropping the 2-piece. Says, is 92 out for the year plus the playoffs? SMH. Yeah, Nnamdi Madubuike, he's definitely out for the whole season plus playoffs. And we don't know about his future in football. Like, we don't know if he's ever going to play again. Like, it's that serious. And it's kind of, there's been like a very ominous silence around Nnamdi Madubuike. There hasn't been any sort of updates on his health and how he's doing, how he's progressing. I mean, it's been months at this point. We've heard nothing, which kind of scares me a bit. It does. It spooks me. I don't know what he's going to, I don't know. Let me see. My guy TY says, Sutton, something I watched with the sound. Daniel Faalele turns his entire body and releases before Roger Rosengarten gets to the defender, and they are delaying the stunts now. So that's some film that, I mean, I'm sure defensive coordinators are looking at that in the film room and saying, like, hey, like, there's ways to get around this big 6 foot. How tall is Daniel Faalele? Like 6'7" or something like that. This 6'7", 400-pound behemoth. There's ways to get around him. We've seen it all season. Which is another reason why in this game, I would love to see Emory Jones rotate at that left guard position, but it's going to be interesting to see how Daniel Falele stands up against that right side of the line. You know, it'll be interesting to see adversely how Emory Jones deals with the rush of a Cam Hayward. You know, it's going to be a war of attrition down low. 6'8" and big for nothing. I think Emory Jones will get more snaps. Yeah, I do too. I do too. All right, all right. Let's look at some Derrick Henry insights. Yeah, let's see what Derrick Henry. Uh, Derrick Henry has averaged 108.4 rushing yards per game in December and January in his career. That is the highest rushing yards per game averaged by any player to play at least 25 career games in December and January since 1970. What does this mean? Derrick Henry gets better when it's colder. He gets stronger when it's colder. And this is probably the most important insight that we've looked at so far. Because again, this game is going to come down to who can run the ball, who can stop the run. That's what it's going to come down to. It's going to be cold out there. I think around like 40 something degrees. And that third to fourth quarter, like, that second half, I think we have to start ramping up the carries for Derrick Henry. Go right at that defensive line. That defensive line is weak right now. Once you kind of deplete the gas tank of Cam Hayward, right? And those linebackers really don't want to come up and tackle Derrick Henry anymore. Patrick Queen's not the biggest linebacker. Again, shout out Patrick Queen, friend of the show. But he's not the biggest linebacker. Malik Harrison, he's going to have his work cut out for him. You got to step up and tackle Derrick Henry. You got to make, if you're this Ravens team, if you're Todd Monken, you got to make the Steelers stop Derrick Henry. Hell, treat Derrick Henry just treat him like an overall offensive weapon. Don't even just look at him as a running back. Treat him as a weapon that is going to wear down, bruise, and batter that Steelers defense. That needs to be the philosophy. Because if you can take the will out of the Steelers defense, and if you can do that early, I mean, sky's the limit. It should be a landslide. Should be a landslide. The Steelers team isn't really feeling themselves right now at all. I do also want to say this. Derrick Henry is a game wrecker, of course. Sean Cole says LJ got to move the chains. Here's the thing. And I see my guy Taurus in the chat. What's going on, Taurus? Lamar is not going to threaten his legs in this one very much. I don't know what Lamar Jackson's rushing line is at right now. As a matter of fact, let me check while I'm on here. But Lamar is not going to threaten his legs very much, nor do I think that the Steelers are going to respect the threat of Lamar Jackson running. So what does that mean? That means that the Steelers are going to load the box with 8 and 9 guys on first and second down to try desperately to get the Ravens into 3rd and 6 or more. Now, as we know, the Ravens have not been very good rushing into loaded boxes this season. Derrick Henry has a lot of carries for 1 and 2 yards. A lot. Therefore, I think you have to threaten the outside runs, which the Steelers, by the way, the Steelers are very susceptible to outside runs. They give those up. I think you got to threaten the outside, threaten the boundary. Do Todd Monken, if you're Todd Monken, do what you said you were going to do when you first became offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. Do what you said you were going to do. Make them defend the entire field. That's what you have to do. Give it to Keaton Mitchell early. Make them respect the outside just as much as between the tackles. And run off of that. I mean, Keaton Mitchell in this one, he had 2 carries last game. I need to see ideally at least about 5 to 6 carries. At least. Let Henry, of course, get his. But I think part of being a creative and a very good offensive coordinator is knowing exactly when to put in some of your auxiliary guys like Keaton Mitchell, who can really change the pace. That speaks to how good you are as a coordinator, plugging them in at the right times. because I mean, 2 carries is not enough. It's not enough for what he's able to produce. We've seen what he can do. 2 carries is not enough. Period. Sean Coles with a $2 donation. Appreciate you, brother. Says take the will from the Steelers and give it to 77. 70. Give it to 77. Talking about Falele or who talking about 77? Could use Keaton and Derek at the same time. That's for sure. I mean, I don't know why we don't do that more often. That again speaks to creativity from the offensive coordinator. Like if you threaten both of those guys at the same time, you know the type of angles you can create. I'm just saying, man. Maybe we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Maybe the Ravens don't need to reinvent the wheel when it comes to running the football because the Steelers' defensive line is so weak. You saw what James Cook did to them last week. Should be able to kind of duplicate the same thing. Lots of duo runs. I need to see more of that. There were a lot of 10-plus yard runs that came on duo runs in the Ravens and Steelers last matchup in the wild card of the playoffs. I need to see that. I need to see that. Let me see. Monk is cap. Tila brings up a very good point. Very good point here from Tila. By the way, let's transition back here. We're done with the insights. But Tila brings up a very good point. Tila says, whatever they do, protect the damn ball. I'll give you a bold prediction in this one. Since I think this game is going to be very low scoring, since I think this game is going to be a very physical phone booth style football game, and since I think both offenses are kind of, sputtering right now, turnovers are normally a premium, right? They normally come at a premium. But in this game is going to be double XP. It's a double premium. I think that whichever team, and I'll have to track this during the game, but I truly do believe this. Whichever team forces a turnover first will win this game. Because it's going to come down to a game of possessions, unlike any other. Like I said, which team has more opportunities to score? Whichever team turns the ball over first will lose this game. Especially if it's the Steelers on the road. That's just my hot take. That's my take. But yeah, guys, I am going to. Torres says it's a big game for Tyler Loop. Yeah, I mean Tyler Loop has been awesome all season. He's been great. I love him for a rookie. So hopefully he does have a good game. Shout out to Tyler Loop. Shout out to Steve Loop as well, frequent in this chat. But I'm going to go ahead and end it there, guys. This has been a great episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I didn't even realize we've been over an hour already. That's just how things go when you're having fun. It's Friday. Friday fun day. Got a little drink with me here. Enjoying it with you guys here, the Rain Gang. I love you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Of course, we will be live. Well, I will be live after the game on Sunday. So around 4 o'clock Eastern time. And, it's either going to be, it's going to go one of two ways. It's going to go one of two ways. I might be crashing out again, or I might be in good spirits. Depends. It depends. But regardless, make sure you guys like this video. Of course, as always, like the video. If you're new here and you enjoyed the content you just consumed, make sure you subscribe to the channel as well. I appreciate that so much. Again, this is the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. You can find us on YouTube at the Purple Rain Podcast, on Instagram at the Purple Rain Podcast, on TikTok at Purple Rain Podcast, right? On Kick as well. On Kick at Purple Rain Podcast. And then on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, again, the Purple Rain Podcast. Appreciate you guys so much. It looks like we got another super chat donation. Man, it looks like a buzzer beater right there. Buzzer beater. Let me see. One more from Sean Coles. Trying to keep me on here. What's the plan for keeping John from turning into a shell of himself? The thing is, with John Harbaugh, he doesn't do much. I mean, he doesn't call the plays, right? I feel like John Harbaugh has his most influence at halftime and when guys first get back to the sidelines, right? Like, because again, you got Todd Monken up there calling plays. Zach Orr's on the field calling plays. Harbaugh's the CEO coach, which is why the next Ravens coach, whenever that happens, I need them to be a play caller. I need them to be a play caller. I mean, you see where the league is going with the Sean McVays of the world, with the Ben Johnsons of the world, right? Now, I mean, you've got Mike Vrabel taking over play calling for the Patriots, and they've been doing well since. I think your head coach has to be more involved with the direct decisions that go into, you know, a football game. Not just being the CEO guy, not just coming up with Harbaugh-isms on the sidelines while things are unfolding in front of you in real time. That's my take. That's my take. An offensive-minded head coach. Yeah. John doesn't veto plays either. I haven't heard about that, but that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. But oh yeah, one more thing, guys. Before I get out of here. One more thing. So I am starting another YouTube channel, and it is going to be about everything. It's not just going to be about football. As a matter of fact, I probably won't talk too much sports on there, but I'm basically just going to be reacting to things. It's called Sutton Reactions, right? And I want to react to, you know, current events, pop culture, music, media, movies, anything. Anything. So, if you would like to hear from me on that, then go and subscribe to Sutton Reactions on YouTube. You should be able to type it in at Sutton Reactions, just how it's spelled, how my name's spelled. But if you guys would like that, let me know down below in the comments. Let me know in the chat, because I've been trying to kind of gauge interest for it. I think I'll probably start the first couple of episodes in a collab with this channel. That way, you know, everybody will see. Tila says, can we send topics? Absolutely. And that was what I was going to get to next. That's what I want you to do. I want everybody to, you know, if you have any topics that you would want me to cover, this will probably end up being like an early morning show. Like I'll probably do it around like maybe 6 a.m. or something like that. So it'll be a morning show. You can listen to it on the way to work, you know, commute, whatever, lunch break, whatever. But I want to get those out early. But I want you guys to send me topics. You can either send them to my DMs on Instagram or Twitter at Sutton Def on both platforms. You can send them to, yeah, I think that's good. Twitter or Instagram, you can follow me at Sutton Def. So send them to, you know, those platforms and DM them to me, and I'll bring them up on the show and I'll react to them live. You can either send me videos, you can send me clips, you can send me tweets or just articles, topics, whatever. You know, you can type in your topic, whatever you want me to cover. Send them to me in the DMs. I think this should be fun. Mog said it should be all of a Sutton. That'd be funny. That'd be funny. Am I gonna wear the cowboy hat? Yes or no? I might. Maybe on a few episodes. I gotta break out the other one. I got 2 cowboy hats. Maybe I'll break out the other one for episode of Sutton Reactions. Who stepped on Lamar's foot, says Monty. I don't know. They did not release that information. Lamar Jackson did not care to disseminate that information to the fans. How about female sports? Sure. Talk about female sports. Can I tell Alex's sound goes in and out? Yeah, we talked about that. Alex, he's having some issues with his laptop right now. He just recently got a new MacBook, and you know, his connection, his signal says it's really good, but when he goes on live, his mic and his camera starts to cut in and out sometimes. So we're still trying to work through that. We have a couple of solutions that we're working on right now, so just bear with us. But we appreciate you guys for, you know, giving us that feedback. We appreciate all feedback. If you do have any feedback for our channel here, leave it down below in our comment section. Sean says, is it going to be funny? When I react to other things other than football, you'll see more of my genuine like expressions and kind of like emotions and feelings about certain things and topics. So you're going to have to judge that for yourself, but I would say it will. Tila says she subbed. Appreciate that. But yeah, guys, if you guys are interested in that, again, DM me on Twitter or Instagram. Send me topics. I would love to hear from you guys. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode of the show. I hope you guys have an amazing weekend. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, as we always say. Stay positive, test negative, and never, ever, ever forget, even on the rainiest of days or the snowiest of days, to call God. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.